1987 Constitution after martial law. President Corazon Aquino's government had three options regarding the Constitution. Revert to the 1935 Constitution, retain the 1973 Constitution, be granted the power to make reforms or start anew and break from the vestige of a disgraced dictatorship. According to the President herself, should be truly reflective to the aspiration and ideals of the Filipino people. In March 1986, President Aquino proclaimed a transitional constitution to last for a while a constitutional commission drafted a permanent constitution. The transitional constitution is also called the Freedom Constitution, and it maintained many provisions of the old one, including in rewritten from the president's right to rule by decree. In 1986, a constitutional convention was created, composed of 48 members appointed by the president. The convention drew up a permanent constitution and largely restoring the setup abolished by Marcos in 1972, and also it was officially adopted on February 2, 1987. The Constitution begins with the preamble and 18 self-contained articles. It established the Philippines as a democratic republican state where sovereignty reside in the people and all government authority emanates from them. It allocates governmental powers among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. The legislative power resides in a Congress divided into two houses, the Senate, the Houses of Representatives. Aside from exclusive power of legislation, Congress may also declare war without a two-thirds vote in both upper and lower house. The Philippines court system is based with the power of the judiciary and composed of a Supreme Court and lower court and as created by law. The Supreme Court is a 15-member court appointed by the President without the need to be confirmed by Congress. The Constitution also established three independent Constitution Commission, namely the Civil Service Commission, a central agency in charge of government personnel, the Commission on Election mandate to enforce and administer or election laws and regulation, and the Commission on Audit which examine all funds, transaction and property accounts of the government and its agencies. The Office of the Ombudsman was created to investigate complaints that pertain to public corruption and unlawful behavior of public officials and other public misconduct. Only the House of Representatives can initiate the impeachment of the President, members of the Supreme Court, and the other constitutionally protected public officials such as the Ombudsman. Why amend or change the 1987 Constitution? Lawyers, politicians, economists, and academics have criticized it for the following: its weak provision on party system, absence of a definite prohibition on political dynasties, restrictive foreign ownership, and lack of efficiency among branches of government, among many others. Attempts to amend or change the 1987 Constitution. The first attempt was in 1995 when the then Secretary of National Security Council Jose Almonte drafted a constitution, but it was exposed to the media and it never prospered. The second effort happened in 1997 when a group called PIRMA, went to gather signature from voters to change the constitution through a people's initiative. Many were against this, including then Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, who brought the issue to court and won, with the Supreme Court judging that a people's initiative cannot push through without an enabling law. The succeeding president, Joseph Ejercito Estrada, formed the study commission to investigate the issues surrounding charter change, focusing on the economic and judiciary provisions of the Constitution. This effort was also blocked by different entities. Then House Speaker Jose de Venecia endorsed constitutional change through a constituent assembly. This initiative was also not successful since the term of President Arroyo was mired in controversy and scandal, including the possibility of Arroyo extending her term as president, which the Constitution does not allow. The administration of the succeeding President Benigno Aquino had no marked interest in charter change, except those emanating from different members of Congress, include the Speaker Feliciano Belmonte Jr., who attempt to introduce amendments to the Constitution that concern economic provision that aim toward liberalization. This effort did not see the light of day. Federalism in the Philippines was supported by President Duterte in the 2016 presidential elections, saying that it will evenly distribute wealth in the Philippines instead of concentrating it in Manila, the capital of the country. Is essentially the rectification of the whole system of agriculture, an important aspect of Philippines' economy, because nearly half of the population is employed in the agricultural sector. It is centered on the relationship between production and distribution of land among farmers. It focused on the political and economic class character of the relation of production and distribution in farming and related enterprises. Propose the Philippines will be able to gain more from its agricultural potential and uplift Filipinos is the agricultural sector who have been suffering in poverty and discontent for the longest time. Development of agrarian reform in the Philippines, land ownership in the Philippines under Spain. Spanish colonization in the country brought a system of blue agriculture. Later on, the law of the Andes, Spanish crown a weird tract of land. Religious order, repartimientos for Spanish military as reward for their service. Spanish encomenderos. The encomienda system was unfair and abusive system, compulsory bandelas. It became the norms for the Filipino farmers working the land. They were made to sell their products to the encomenderos who resort a profit. In the beginning of 19th century, hacienda system was developed. Spanish government implemented policies that fast-tracked the entry of the colony into the capitalist world. Agricultural exports were demanded, and the hacienda system was developed, a new form of ownership. In the 1860s, Spain enacted a law ordering landholders to register their land holdings. The system introduced by the Spaniards became the better source of hatred and discontent of the Filipinos. Religious orders and the biggest landowners in the Philippines became main source of abuse and exploitation for the Filipinos. Filipinos fought the Philippines Revolution in their greatest desire for freedom would be the necessity of knowing land. Upon the end of Philippines Revolution, revolutionary government will declare all large landed estates and confiscated lands and government property.